Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of my new podcast, Hiring and Inspiring. Today's guest, I'm joined by a lady all the way from New Zealand, Deb. She is a contact of ours at BMS, helping us with our marketing automation. We've been in touch recently over the last sort of few months, and I'm really interested in what she does. She's self-employed sort of marketing consultant, partnering with recruitment companies, helping them sort of getting more out of their databases with her sort of marketing automation technologies and the work she does. So I'm looking forward to having a chat to her, learn a bit more about her and her business and her journey, and sharing her wisdom. So Deb, with that intro, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you in this virtual studio.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for taking the time to join me. I guess sort of just first question, and more just a bit more of an intro into you. How would you sort of describe what you do, describe your business, and how do you sort of help your customers to sort of kick things off?
Yeah, sure. I now am a sole operator, and I really got into this. And the reason that I registered my NZBN for New Zealand is to help an old friend and client from LinkedIn days
Okay.
to implement some marketing strategies. And then she quickly decided she was going to implement bullhorn automation. And so I jumped on board and started setting that up for her business. Now currently I have 4 additional clients, literally just doing the marketing automation side of it. So just setting up on 2 different types of platforms, marketing automation for them as well.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, I personally know a little bit about what you do and how you help your company,
Yeah.
sorry, your customers. But when you say someone who had no idea about marketing automation, what you do, how would you sort of say you help your customers? What does your activities do, generally speaking?
Well, I'll probably go back to like what marketing automation really is. And anyone
Yeah,
who's
go for
bought
it. Yeah.
anything online will have been the target of a marketing automation platform. Have you ever received an email that says, you left something in your shopping cart?
Mm,
That's
that-
marketing
yeah.
automation. Every little step of the journey, they know what you've done to that point, and they'll send you the relevant communication. So for recruitment agencies, it's a little bit different, in that you're kind of mapping out the journey for a candidate and a client through job seeking or placement, and setting up the relevant communications to go to those clients and candidates at those times. Essentially, just saving the recruiter or the client manager or however you describe them within your business time.
So essentially, the activities you do, rather than the individual sort of outreach, spending the time typing out an email or calling them up, you can do this at scale, right? You can do this at,
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, and also from what I know from what you've done from us, quite targeted and personalize them so
Yeah.
that it's not spam, right? Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you might consider, some of the things that pop into your promotions inbox and Gmail spam.
Hmm.
You might have signed up for them yourself and you still consider them spam. But so some people could consider this something that they don't want to receive or
Hmm.
something that goes straight into promotions. But potentially, I mean, mostly if it's someone that you have strong communication or relationship with,
Yeah.
they're not going to see it as spam at all. They're going to see it as
Hmm.
an email from Joe Cutler to
Hmm.
say, how's that job I placed you in 3 weeks ago
Yeah.
going?
Yeah. Gotcha. And what about kind of the success that some of your clients have seen? Like what sort of benefit, like tangible stuff, like examples, results. What kind of stuff have you've seen that your work does?
There's so varied, but there's so many successes. Like, as in, I got a bunch of jobs on from a client that we reached out to through an automation
Yeah.
a week ago. To I had a candidate respond to an email that was automated that went to them 5 days before their start date, saying, actually, I
Mm.
have no idea where to go, or I don't know who I'm supposed to meet that day, or just to help them to get into their role without hitch. To sending out 50,000 emails or even more to candidates who
Yeah.
you might not know are looking for work, and getting 100 responses saying I am.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's what I love to see about, well, the person when I work in recruitment, the actual tangible outcomes when you see someone, replacing someone in a new job
Yeah.
and or winning a new client and helping them. That's, well, I don't know. That's why I love doing what I do.
It's funny too, because a lot of marketing has been really plagued with assumed ROI, and people
Okay.
don't actually know. Like, it's hard to track ROI in marketing
Mm,
systems and marketing products. So it's always kind of almost been a belief system that
mm,
marketing works, that got marketing through, which obviously it does work. I mean, Coca-Cola Red is copyrighted, everyone knows it.
yeah.
Marketing does work, but it's been really hard to prove that back to the recruitment agencies of exactly what the ROI from that is, or what the dollar value of that marketing was.
Yeah.
These systems are helping us to prove it a little bit more easily, I would
Mm,
say, um, proving that the marketing automation system is at least producing a dollar value
yeah.
at the end of the
That's
day.
that really works in my brain as well, because I years ago I studied marketing at university, but I think I struggled with it is it was always a lot of concepts and stuff that were,
Yeah,
kind of in the air. I couldn't smell or feel it,
yeah,
and when I started working into sales, I could really see it, and that was what attracted me to it.
yeah,
Working in sales, sorry, but
yeah,
with the work that you do, when you actually spell it out into those dollar figures, and these are the placements, or whatever that the marketing activities have done, that's, I don't know, that's what excites me about it.
yeah. I think that
That
was
makes sense.
probably what will excite most recruitment business owners.
Yeah, they tend to like that sort of, well, work in that lingo for
Yeah.
sure. Um, so quite sort of early days from going out from yourself, on your own by yourself, right? How would you say it's going? How are you finding the whole, journey of that process?
Yeah, I think I love it actually. I
Yeah.
mean, I've always been pretty autonomous in my previous roles as well.
Okay.
So it's the 8 years I spent with LinkedIn, it was a pretty awesomely autonomous management system.
Mm.
Get your things done. I don't mind where you are.
Okay.
Um, so I guess it's similar in that way, although now I only have to answer to myself, which is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's going really well. And what I'm trying to do is keep my working hours within school hours for the young
Okay.
children,
Yeah.
and keep it to a few days a week so I don't have daycare for 5 days.
Yeah. Okay.
So that part of it's working really well. I'm sure there's many more clients that need this service though, that they just don't have anyone to provide it for them.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's something you just touched on there, only having to answer to yourself. How have you found that? Because again, I don't know, you could always, I would imagine you would sort of, sometimes you need like a boss or someone to drive you and
Yeah.
push you. I know
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
I certainly have
it's,
in the past too.
yeah, yeah. So is it, yeah, have you found that challenging? Like just kind of basically you pushing yourself and, you driving this whole
Do
business.
you know
How have
what?
you found it?
I don't so much, because what really ends up happening is my clients are my bosses. So I do have someone to
Ah, okay.
answer to. If
Yeah.
I don't do the work that they're expecting of me that week, I need to tell them why, you know?
Mhm.
So I kind of do in that way. Every client becomes my boss.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you touched on it right at the start. What sort of drove you to do this and go out on your own, away from working for the other corporate organisations that you've worked for in the
Yeah.
past? What was the reason?
Well, part of it um, is the lack of ability for me right now to do full-time hours.
Mm,
So I was doing 2 days a week, and I even struggled to do two full-time days a week, 9 till 5.
yeah,
And I had to rely on my mum so much for school pickups, etc. Um, and eating out those 2 nights because I just didn't end up with time to cook anything.
yeah, fair.
So I did find that a bit of a struggle. Um, and I know everyone has that struggle. A lot of people put their children into after school care so that they can continue
Mm,
working full time. And that is just a normal struggle. But I think I was lucky enough to be in the position where I didn't need to earn that much money. I was living back in Palmerston North instead of
yeah,
Sydney. So it's a more sustainable lifestyle
yeah,
monetarily.
yeah,
Sydney's an expensive place to live,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I know. Yeah.
and um, and there aren't the big opportunities in big companies here either. So even working 2 days a week, I knew I didn't want to go to more full-time days. I saw a need that people needed. The marketing automation systems set up for them externally. A lot of especially the smaller recruitment agencies, they don't have someone internal that can take that on board.
Yeah.
And so who I was working for, Roy AI, Chris South, who was awesome, had been able to employ more people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to step away knowing that he was full-time covered, and that he would keep sending clients my way to get them onboarded onto his system, because it's actually very good for him too, for a client to have a nice onboarding process and lots of things set up and running.
Yeah. Gotcha. And we were talking a little bit before actually, but about the future for your business. Well, what are you? I know you don't have a crystal ball. It's hard to predict these things sometimes, but what are you sort of hoping for the future? And what are you sort of expecting? And what can I expect from you?
You can expect a really well set up BMS system. But for the future for me, it's funny. Success to some people would mean I need to grow the business. I need to have employees. I'm not interested in that right now. I just want to maintain a few clients, do the mahi, as we say in New Zealand, do the work.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future, when the kids are a bit older and I've got more time, there might be a time to think about growing a larger business, but it's really never been my intention. I'm quite happy being a sole operator.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think because sometimes I was actually just thinking about this over the weekend. I was reading a book on it, but it's all about a lot of people chase these sort of these huge goals and these chase perfection or whatever, or blah blah blah. But sometimes just good enough is great. Just having doing, to some people it's not the biggest thing, or but if it means something to you, and if it's if it keeps things turning over, and that's better than good, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I know one of your you were going to ask what success looks like to me, and I'm like, well, I think it is what I'm doing now. I'm maintaining, and especially when all my friends who work full time are like, I feel like I'm failing at everything. I'm failing at child rearing. I'm failing at my job. I'm failing at home management. I don't have any time to cook or do admin tasks for the house. I feel like I do get some time to do all of that. So that's what success looks like for me right now.
Yeah.
And that could change in the future as my life stages change.
Yeah. You've jumped ahead, Deb. That was going to be my last question. I saved that till the end, but don't worry, you've answered it. It's when you say about your friends, like all of these things, like failing or whatever and whatever. I don't know where that sort of comes from. That pressure to be sort of, I don't know, perfect at everything.
I know.
I think everyone just needs to give themselves a little bit of a break sometimes, and
Absolutely.
as you say, just have success. It's just getting by. Then that's great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for answering that. I'd like to go back actually some time. I know you've moved on now, but you worked for a number of years before LinkedIn.
Yes.
Sort of reflecting a little bit, how would you look back on your time, working in that role? It was you and an account director, right?
Well, yeah. We call them relationship managers. I'm not sure what they call. They might be account managers or account directors now. It was amazing, like awesome, absolute dream job.
Yeah.
When I landed it, and the travel, and I know that stopped during COVID, but the travel and the incredible benefits that they give to their employees, and the importance they place on employee care and company culture, it's second to none, I feel.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm sure a lot of companies in the tech industry are the same, and I know a lot of companies in the tech industry are the same. But it was a crazy time. I'd never worked in such a large company, let alone a large sales organization. I'd always been in small companies, and I was the only account manager, or the only person even doing sales in that small software company.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge culture shock for me, just the amount of internal emails and the amount going on, and then your actual job on top of it all. It was actually sometimes completely overwhelming and completely intimidating.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you kind of feel two ways about it, like that it was absolutely crazy. It was, the workload was insane, especially when I first started and we didn't have as many people in the team. We had about, I think I had 150 clients in my first book of clients.
Yeah.
Um, but it was also incredible to work for such a company that places such importance on what they do and what their staff do and get within the company. Yeah. And it was almost like you go to a conference and Jeff Weiner would dance onto the stage to the song of Sweet Caroline, and the crowd would go wild. Like, it was a mixture of Tony Robbins meets the Beatles.
Okay.
Like, you're kind of like, am I in a cult here? Like, what is happening? Is this
Yeah.
Amway? Or I don't know.
Was that like one of their global gatherings, they call them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know this was, I think last year, they had every single employee was in Vegas.
Yeah,
For
they
1 week or
always do
something.
Vegas now. When I first started, we were a
Right.
bit smaller. We could do San Francisco some years and LA
Yeah.
other years. Actually, I think they even did regional for a while. So the guys went to Macau and to Singapore
Yeah.
for one instead. But yeah, they're all back in Vegas now.
Yeah.
It's the only
Amazing.
place that's big enough to house everyone.
Fair enough.
It's
Um,
absolute maniac.
how did you see you, because you were there for a number of years? How did you see LinkedIn evolve? Because I feel like the platform, this is just
Yeah,
me as a user, has evolved drastically.
yeah,
Maybe in the last 10 years or so.
yeah.
Working in the inside, how did you see it evolve?
Yeah, it did. It did evolve drastically. It
Mm.
was incredible, and not only did the platform itself and the like what the software could deliver to a recruitment agency, because I only worked with recruitment agencies, but of
Yeah.
course the same things were happening on the HR side and the marketing sides. But yeah, not only did the actual software and the service and the things that you could actually get out of the software evolve, especially as it grew. The team in Australia grew hugely as well,
Yeah.
and evolved and split and then evolved again. And yeah, it's a really agile company to work for, and it's hard to keep that agility as you grow so
Yeah.
big. So they did a good job of that, I think.
Yeah. And what about LinkedIn sort of, I know you're not there anymore, but just from your thoughts, I feel like some people are saying it sort of has its reach and growth has matured. It's had its peak. Do you still feel that it's still, I don't know, there's space for it to grow and to sort of maintain and stay at the sort of top of those social channels for business? I feel like it still is, to be honest, but
I
do
feel
you
like
feel
it
like
still
it's,
is too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it's not going to be outrun by any other.
yeah,
So that maintenance side, I think it will maintain its relevance in business.
mm,
Um, I don't know how much more it can grow. Growth had to slow,
yeah,
and it probably has almost, or has already reached critical mass. But then there'll be a new generation of people coming up through it. So
yeah,
I think what they'll probably concentrate on is making sure that that new generation of people who are finishing high school now and are finishing high school in 10 years'
yeah,
time also feel it's relevant.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And just while we're sort of predicting things and discussing maybe the future a little bit, I was gonna this is a question. I appreciate this is quite a big question, but as a bit of an expert in the field of marketing and that kind of stuff, what do you feel the future holds for marketing as
Oh,
an industry?
oh, I can't wait to walk through a virtual mall with my
Yeah.
VR goggles on, made from my own preferences. It's going to be exciting for me. I'm
Mm.
not one of those people that cares that someone has data about me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Probably because I've been working in the marketing industry for so long, I'm totally fine with that. You have as much data about me as you want if you can deliver to me things that I'm actually interested in.
Mm.
I sometimes only go on Facebook feeds to look at the ads because I know the ads
Really?
are so
Okay. Yeah.
relevant to me. Instagram
Yeah.
too. I'm like, yes, there's something I'm interested in.
Mm.
Learn more.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared at all of that, and I think it'll just continue to go that way. More preference matching, more automation, bigger
Super.
and
Just
better
hyper, like everything
software.
hyper personalized.
Yeah,
As you say,
yeah.
logging in and everything it's already there for you, kind of.
Yeah, I kind of think it has to go that way, and it will continue going that way too, because we're not doing any less online. We're just doing more and more and more online. It's not
Yeah.
going, it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep going
Well,
the
it
way
sounds like
it
you're
is.
embracing it and you're up for
Totally.
it, kind of thing.
Totally.
A lot of people aren't. Let's be honest. Or what would you say to them?
Hmm. Do you know what? I wouldn't try and change them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I would say you are entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel comfortable with it, you probably need to, you know, not do so much online that allows people to gather info about you.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it's there. It's there to stay. You deal with it whichever way you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Um, and just sort of, final sort of couple of questions for me. What are you sort of predicting, future for yourself? Future for your business. What I've kind of already asked this a little bit. What are my sort of, what's the future hold for you a little bit? And where can we sort of see, where can I see more from yourself and your business?
Oh, I don't think I'll be growing this
Yeah.
business anytime soon. So I think you'll just not see much from me, to be honest. My
Mm.
5 clients right now are
Yeah.
got me at capacity.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So as some of them get set up, I'll take on new ones. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see it. I'm quite happy
Yeah.
being a sole marketing consultant
Yeah. Yeah.
right now, and I don't see that changing in the next few years.
No, love it. Good. And yeah, I know my last final question for most of my guests is sort of around the idea of success, and that's just a general topic. You've touched upon a few things already, but anything you want to add to that, just you know, around what success means to you personally, professionally, just generally speaking, and you take that any way, which way you like.
I think for me, success just means you didn't drop too many balls in a day.
Yeah.
Literally, it's hard sometimes just to get through the basic things that you need to in a day. I think
Mm.
everyone needs to, as you said before, not strive for perfection, just
Yeah.
strive to get some things done. Some
Yeah.
things done in a day is
Yeah.
enough. And then all those things you have to do, like eat and sleep and stuff, if you
Yeah.
do get any
Exactly.
sleep.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
Deb, thanks for those answers, and thanks for coming on and having a bit of a chat with me, and sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom, and a little bit about your journey as well. Certainly got a lot from it. Really appreciate the work you're doing for us as well.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for coming on, Deb.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much, Joe. You're totally welcome.
Talk to you later on.
All
Cheers.
right. See ya.